All right. Welcome back. I just want to deal with one subject. I'm going to try my best, just deal with one subject, but I'm going to briefly touch on two or three other stories, just briefly. But I want to focus in on this. I've done a lot of videos about this infection, this bacterial infection. Yet another person contracted it, and this person died. Okay, this person died. Several times when people have caught this capnocytophaga, they lived, but they had to get their limbs amputated. Okay, this is very serious. Now, it looks like I have lost, or maybe not. Okay, now I'm going to play this. This is just for the people who are not familiar with this infection. Again, it's called capnocytophaga. And it's actually found in the saliva of most dogs, according to their experts. Okay, it's real short. Well, it's not too short. 2 minutes, 21 seconds.
More local news now. A deadly infection linked to a dog's saliva. The family of a South Milwaukee woman tells Katie Crowther it all started with a nip from her small dog.
Lambo, Wisconsin Dells.
River Bend.
Looking through old photos is bittersweet.
Brings back the good memories.
Dan's wife Sharon died suddenly at the end of June. She was 58, a devoted.
Okay, now listen. If you were to go up and warn some of these dog owners, like, hey, those creatures carry very deadly bacteria in there, there's nothing you could say to a dog lover that'll get them to stay away from that dog. Some people just have to learn the hard way. They have to learn the hard way. And many of these people, I think, they're willing to die for their dog. They would rather die than to not live with a dog. It's that serious, people. They're willing to fork over their life for this. It's not a game. This is a true bona fide obsession. It's a mental illness. I don't care what nobody say. Healthcare or health professionals, doctors, I need to start to classify this as a mental illness. These people are willing to die over this nonsense.
Mother and grandmother.
I feel like I got robbed. Lost my best friend, my wife.
Their new dog, Bo, nipped at Sharon, causing a small cut.
Okay, now, they don't have to bite you. They can just get their saliva on you. Dog saliva is one of the most toxic fluids this planet has ever seen. Dog saliva. There's a good reason why. In Islam, they say, you know, that you have to wash your hands, 4 times if you touch a dog? They warn against dogs, how nasty and filthy, bacteria-ridden they are. This is another reason why they should be banned. And this includes all dogs. Now you see this mutt right here. This dog is not going to maul a grown man to death. Okay, I'll give you that. Maybe it won't maul a man to death, but guess what? It will kill a grown man because it's just that nasty. The level of filth these things carry is just as dangerous because it's lethal. Okay, we need to get serious about this.
After severe flu-like symptoms, Dan brought her to Wheaton Franciscan.
And notice how everything feels like the flu. Oh, flu-like symptoms, flu-like symptoms. I'm telling y'all, people, these things are behind a lot of our illnesses, a lot of them.
In 2 days, she was gone. Doctors told him she tested positive for capnocytophaga,
Now, I don't understand why she pronounced it that way. I don't think that's how you pronounce it. She said capnocyte. What did she say? Let's rewind that.
Positive for capnocytophaga,
Okay.
a bacteria found in the saliva of most dogs and cats.
Now, you notice how they show the cat. They always do this. They always try to throw some other animals in the mix. But notice you've never heard someone dying or getting their limbs amputated because of a cat lick. Y'all notice a lot of things they put on dogs and cats. They'll put on dogs and other animals. But when you look for the animals that have these specific infections, you only find dogs. To me, that's very telling. It's very telling. Okay, the math is not adding up. It don't look universally shared by animals. This is just a dog thing because these things are nasty. They're disgusting. Okay? We don't exaggerate over here.
Capnocytophaga, a bacteria found in the saliva of most dogs and cats. For most of us, it has no effect, but for some, like Sharon and this West Bend man who had his arms and legs amputated, it can have devastating consequences.
No, the CDC doesn't
Now,
track that.
now, people, did y'all hear what she just said? Let me rewind that.
For most of us, it has no effect, but for some, like Sharon and this West Bend man who had his arms and legs amputated, it can have devastating consequences.
Oh, devastating consequences for some people. Isn't that what she said? And that's what she said, right? But these people had owned these dogs for a very long time. It was not their first time coming into contact with their dog's saliva. How do you explain that? Huh? It's not like these people contracted this bacteria as soon as they adopted the dog. Some of these people have had their dogs for years. Which tells you what? It tells you that whatever is in these mutants' mouths, it changes. It changes. It does not remain the same. You can't play around with stuff like that, especially in the modern era, the era of viruses, outbreaks, social distancing, pandemics. Are you kidding? So this is telling. These people had always been in contact with their dog's saliva. Why did it just now cause sepsis? Now, these doctors, they admit that they don't know everything about diseases and viruses. They admit that. So you need to act on that. Act on their ignorance, on their uncertainty. For all I know, what they understand about dogs and bacteria and stuff like that, that could only make up 10% of everything there is to know. So stay away from them. Stay away from them. These things are dangerous in more than one way.
West Bend man who had his arms and legs amputated, it can have devastating consequences.
The CDC doesn't track this because it is so infrequent, but we're hearing about it. It's happening.
She could get struck by lightning 4 times and live, win the lottery twice.
Man, listen, I don't care how rare it is. I don't care how rare it is. If I catch it, then how rare it is irrelevant. Is that supposed to comfort me? And here's the kicker, people. These people bring dogs into schools so that dogs can put their saliva onto the students. All over a dog's body, there is saliva. They have saliva all over their noses. Saliva everywhere. They're saliva machines. Isn't that reckless? This is why it should be banned. You can't just let teachers and people at your child's school bring dogs around them and have them hugging and licking all on your children. This is madness.
And that's how rare this is supposed to be.
Infectious disease doctor Sylvia Munoz-Price says people should not panic over these recent cases.
No, yeah, you should panic. What you talking about?
It is not reported because they are fairly infrequent. We are exposed to many, many, many organisms.
Yeah, stop. Stop. Okay, look, let's let her finish. But I'm upset already.
Every day. And most of us, the majority, 99.999% of people never get infections.
The people typically affected.
So? Look, I fail to see how that's supposed to reassure me. Who cares how rare it is? The point is that it's possible. It could happen. And you shouldn't put anybody at risk. Totally unnecessary. Man, now we're going to take a look at this here in a minute. Talking about, oh, it's so rare. We're exposed to so many different viruses and bacteria. Well, why aren't those other infections leaving people in the same condition that these dogs leave them in? I mean, when you look at this. Look at this. Where is it? Is this it? No, here's another one. This is the case that just happened. Okay, this surfaced yesterday. This is the case that just happened. This is a whole different case. This took place back in 2016. Former soldier left in a coma needs a kidney transplant after dog slobber left him with a rare killer infection, which covered his body in tennis ball-sized blisters. You telling me saliva leaves people in this condition? Saliva? And I'm supposed to just say, oh, okay, I'll take the chance. Are you kidding? This stuff just starts eating through your flesh. Now, all you youngsters, do you want this? Do you want to catch this? If you don't, stop touching dogs. You know, it's smart for you to be afraid of dogs. It's smart. So just go with the flow. It's natural. It's a natural instinct. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Now, this was a retired sub-editor, Mark Jones, bitten by his mutt. 61 years old. He waited for 4 days before seeking medical assistance for the bite. He waited 4 days. They say by the time he arrived, he was in very poor condition. It had advanced so much, the doctor said there was nothing that he could do to save this guy. His inquest heard it was probable Mr. Jones had developed sepsis after the bite. And was he really bitten? Was it really a bite? Or was it just him coming into contact with saliva, maybe his mucous membranes, like his mouth? You know how they tell you that you're at a much higher risk of contracting these types of infections through your mucous membranes, like your mouth. And where do these people get off on letting their dog lick them? Right in the mouth, right in the face. This is a very sick, disgusting culture. You know, I try to emphasize this as much as possible because most people think it's overboard to believe that dogs should be banned based on just attacks. But you can take your pick. You can focus on attacks or things like this. And these things are so dangerous, so riddled with parasites and diseases, viruses, bacteria. We have to be out of our minds to entertain this lifestyle, especially in an era like we have today, with all these outbreaks and whatnot. So this is the guy. 61 years old. Now, do you think he would have given up this dog had I tried to lecture him on capnocytophaga? How many dog lovers? Many dog lovers, they're going to read this story and continue to let their dog lick on them. So what is that? It's suicidal. These are suicidal behavior. We don't have to participate in that. We don't. And we don't have to touch anything that they touch. Be very careful about what you touch. I don't even like to put my hand on a rail going up or down the stairs. I don't like to touch nothing. If it's a push door, I try to use my wrist, try to use my foot. If I have to grab a hold of a handle and turn it, I would prefer to use my sleeve or something. These people, they will have their hands all drenched in saliva. Not just saliva, but dog excrement, dog urine. They'll go to work and touch everything. They'll shake your hand. Why would they care? They clearly don't have any sense of hygiene. So yeah, they'll go around touch. Not only that, they'll prepare your food. Y'all remember that story I shared not long ago where this girl says she refused to even eat food that comes out of her sister's home because, that mutt had dander everywhere. She said dog hair be all in the food. What is this, man? How many more reasons do you need to stay away from these things? Are these reasons not good enough? They act like we're getting something out of coming into contact with these things. Young people, when they see dogs and maybe the adults ask them to pet it, or if they want to pet it, which is putting pressure on the child to say yes. You have a lot of legit reasons not to. It's okay. It's okay to say no. Say, no, I'm a germaphobe. I'm allergic to dander. No, I'm a germaphobe, whatever. You don't have to touch these people's dogs, and you don't have to touch them. You don't have to get close to people. And dog lovers, you should feel very embarrassed that there's a large group of people out here talking about you like this, talking about how nasty you are and dangerous, how disease, parasite, virus, and bacteria ridden you and your dog is, your home, everything you touch. You should feel ashamed that there are people, and we're not making this up. We're not making it up. I shared the information from an expert who said that when these people go to work, they contaminate the air at their job with dander because they just bring it from their home onto the workplace. Like, my goodness, don't you feel embarrassed and ashamed that we're finding all this out and we're talking about it? My goodness, man. Show some respect for yourself. Show some respect for your existence. Man, I feel proud. It gives me a rush to avoid these things, to never be in the presence of something so worthless, something so beneath me, beneath us. No, I refuse to put myself on the same level as a nasty, filthy, disease-ridden dog. Dogs are the most disgusting, most disease-ridden, by far the most disease-ridden. When you hear about these diseases and outbreaks that pop up all over the world, when it's zoonotic, it's almost exclusively dogs. Dogs, dogs, dogs. You don't see animals dropping dead and getting sick the way you see dogs do. Okay, you might have an anomaly here or there, but dogs have these outbreaks year round. They don't even go a solid month without having some crazy outbreak. And why? Why does it take them so long to figure out what the problem is? In one of these cases, it took the doctors like 3 days before they discovered that it was capnocytophaga. Why did it take that long? Aren't you supposed to be familiar with it? It's why I keep telling people, these medical professionals, they're not that familiar with this stuff. There's too much that they don't know. Too much that they don't know, man. And you can't fault them for not knowing something. They're being honest, telling us that they don't know everything that there is to know, especially with zoonotic diseases, man. They've told us 3 to 4 new zoonotic diseases pop up every year in the United States alone. Don't you understand that at any point something could pop up that they don't have a cure for, that's resistant to antibiotics? Many of them right now are resistant to antibiotics, something that could go viral and wipe you out. You don't be in possession of creatures like this, especially when you have facts and statistics that have been put out here telling us that all these unknown diseases pop up every year, and you got the vacuum cleaner of the earth. If there's anything going around through any other animal group, your dog is by far the most effective transmitter from it to you. And to be honest, I think a lot of these diseases and stuff originate in that dog. Capnocytophaga, for example. Again, why did it take these people so long to fall ill? Now, there's some nurses, doctors who follow channel. Hey, fill us in, fill me in. Isn't something wrong with that? Here, your dog has been licking on you for years. Then suddenly, all of a sudden, it licks you one day. And now you need your arms, your legs amputated. Now you sick. Okay, that's a scary level of ignorance. You know, when you talk about doctors who sit around and admit, hey, we don't know everything there is to know about this. Well, guess what? I'm not going to deal with it. If the doctors are saying, hey, I don't understand this, that means we certainly need to stay away from it. And these people just let these things lick them all in the mouth. It's suicidal behavior, man. Very suicidal behavior. So I'll go ahead and share this. I'll never pass on the opportunity to highlight how filthy, nasty, disgusting these things are. Every time I go live, every video I produce, I try to gross you out. Gross you out with facts. I'm not making nothing up. But see, the problem has been that nobody has been given any real attention to this type of stuff and having discussions about it. They didn't mention this in any of these articles. The point that I just made about these people having come into contact with their dog's saliva for years, they never pointed that out. You heard her. She said, when some people come into contact with it, then they'll have a bad reaction and they might die. Okay, well, those some people that you're talking about had been in contact with that dog for a long time. So how do you explain that? Yeah, that's exactly right. You don't know. So I'm going to stay away from it. So don't wag your finger at anti-dog people when they say they don't want to come into your home, get into your car, especially stay out of a car, people. The dog gets inside their vehicle. They put their nasty anus right there on the car seat. Their vehicle, the inside of their vehicle is filthy nasty, man. Filthy nasty. It's so offensive that a human being would keep their vehicle and home in such a disgusting, contaminated state. There's no excuse for it, man. No excuse for it. Did I share this? I'm pretty sure this story will probably go viral. These stories usually do. These stories about sepsis and whatnot. Oh yeah, I shared it already. Yeah, it's not just about attacks. Oh, you got a small dog? I don't want to be around that either. I don't care how small it is. It's just as nasty. And have y'all noticed quite often when a person contracts capnocytophaga, quite often it's from a smaller dog. Okay? There's nothing intelligent about this. Now, y'all remember that one guy who contracted capnocytophaga? I mean, I'm just asking simple questions. Is this intelligent? Is it intelligent? He contracted capnocytophaga and he needed his legs amputated and his arms amputated. And when he got home from the hospital, he continued to touch on that same dog that infected him and caused him to lose his limbs. Simple question. Is that intelligent? See, they want to prop this behavior up as something that's so honorable. Oh, how beautiful. Is it intelligent? That's all I want to know. And you can't argue that this is intelligent. This is the opposite of intelligent. Why would you go home and continue to rub on that thing? Huh? This looks like a different guy. Yeah, I think this is a different one. Or it might be the same guy. It kind of look like the same. Yeah, I think it's the same. Well, no, it looks different. Yeah, it looks different. Grandfather had both legs amputated. So many of you dog lovers, you're willing to take the chance. If this happens to you, then oh well. I'm quite sure you'll continue to touch that mutt with your nubs, just like this dog lover did. But listen, you don't get no round of applause for that. Nobody gonna high five you because of that. And trust me, you don't look intelligent. In no one's opinion. Same thing happened to this lady. Needed legs and arms amputated. Are you kidding? Dogs don't even deserve to be in our presence. They're that far beneath us. And you actually want to exchange body fluids. even after stuff like this happens. These people, they're out of control. Out of control. Anybody in their right state of mind would look at this and be like, oh, okay, I'm never touching a dog. Yeah, simple as that. Oh no, I can't live without a dog. How will I go on? Well, you know people dealing with a real addiction. Now, another thing I wanted to touch on briefly is a couple more things. How y'all doing today? What's today? Thursday. Tomorrow's the big day. It's supposed to be terrible out here. Hope y'all doing well. I reported on this yesterday, on yesterday's live stream. I'm sure most of you know about it. This is only a minute long. Go ahead and refresh your memory here. But there's something on here that I want to touch on. This was about the 4-day-old baby who was mauled, killed, tortured by a husky. But they said, oh no, the dog's tooth is responsible. The dog simply put its mouth on the baby, and the dog's tooth penetrated the baby's skull. You know how hard that mutt had to have bitten, clamped down on that baby? And we have to ask some questions. We got to ask some questions. Listen.
Tonight, police are
oh, wait a minute. Sorry about that.
Investigating after a newborn baby girl was bitten by a dog and died.
See, listen, I don't like them saying bitten, because it wasn't just a bite. This was a mauling. They are all maulings. This is torture.
2029's Brett Rains spoke to Cave Springs police about what happened.
Police say the baby girl was only 4 days old when she was bitten inside her home by the family pet.
4 days old. Is the house. Is this the house? No, this is not the house. So I don't know where the house is.
The investigation is ongoing, which police say is standard policy.
Okay, said the investigation is standard policy. People, that investigation, again, is done to try to keep the dog alive.
The prosecutor tells me right now it appears that what happened was an accident. And
accident.
He does not anticipate filing any criminal charges.
No criminal charges. It was an accident. Now, do you know what this does to crazy people? They're down on their luck. They're broke. They see other people starting GoFundMes and they raise $10, $20, $50,000. It doesn't take much to come up with the idea, hey, let's just put them in the room here and close the door. All because this is not treated like a crime. Instead, it's treated like an accident. This is not an accident. How could it be an accident when everyone was aware of the threat? Simple question. That's a simple, honest question, and it deserves a direct response. How can it be an accident if all of the adults were aware of the threat? Not an accident. Y'all have legalized this sick, sacrificial practice. That's all this is. Bloodletting, where murders are, it's an accident. It's an accident. Oh, yes. I'm not making nothing up.
Now, it appears that what happened was an accident, and he does not anticipate filing any criminal charges. Investigators say police and first responders were called to a home in Cave Springs just after noon on December 14th for a reported dog bite. When they arrived, they found a 4-day-old baby girl who'd been bitten by the family's dog, a husky. Investigators say the baby girl had severe injuries to her head. She was taken to Arkansas Children's.
People, What happened? This is a 4-day-old baby. This baby is not crawling anywhere. See, doesn't this feel good? These are the discussions that they refuse to have in mainstream media. This was a 4-day-old baby. How did the dog get that close to the baby? Simple question. How? It's almost guaranteed they brought the dog, or they brought the baby to the dog. Why? Excuse me. To get a stupid photo or video. Because that's the viral thing to do. They had the baby for only 4 days. Oh, wow. Yes. Time for us to get a bunch of likes, a bunch of shares, and a bunch of comments. After we upload this photo of our newborn baby, 4 days old, with our husky, and we can show how good of a boy our doggy is. Because when they share photos like that, it's not to highlight the baby. It's always to highlight the dog. Always, always done to highlight the dog. The dog is the center of attraction in their minds. Should we assume that they simply left the 4-day-old alone where there was no adult? No. No. Many of these cases involve these people trying to produce some photo or video. They deliberately bring the dog around the baby. And they're about to get off scot-free. No charges. Can't make this up.
Children's Hospital in Springdale, and then flown to Children's Hospital in Little Rock, but the baby girl did not survive.
Look how he's whispering, like they know that something's wrong. Yeah, this is very cultish, man.
The baby girl did not survive. Right now, police are not naming the family involved. They say the dog was euthanized.
Not naming the family. Why? Because their social media is full of nutter photos. They do this quite often. And what they do is scrub the internet, scrub their Facebook, scrub their Instagram, because they got photos plastered everywhere. And it's much harder to deny that you were aware of the threat. How could you not be aware? That is just showcase your recklessness. All those photos and videos of a baby with a dog, it highlights your recklessness, highlights the behavior that you governed that led to that baby's death. The dog and the baby was completely under the control of you. Were you aware that the dog could bite? Yes, you were. And what you do? You took the chance anyways. And these people call it an accident? Again, where are the lawyers out here? Do any of you really value your profession? Are you really a person about justice? Or is it all about status or class or whatever? Where's the morale? What happened to the morale in this country? People lost all sense of decency. So I would like to know, notice how they don't even share the name. Don't even share the name of the family of the baby, nothing. Why? Because they're scrubbing the internet. Let's hide it. Let's cover it up. Oh, another sacrifice. Let's hide it. So sick. We're after you. You've been perpetrating this sick evil for too long. We're on your necks now. We're on your necks. Now, there was something else I wanted to Did y'all hear about this? This surfaced what? A few hours ago. 6 people attacked by a dog at a mutt care clinic. Can't make this up.
A half a dozen people in Nashua are recovering after being attacked by a large dog yesterday morning at a pet clinic on Daniel West.
Half a dozen. So what does this sound like this dog did? The same thing it did at that school yesterday. Same thing they do when they attack livestock. They attack one after another, after another, after another. Shout out to somebody who left a good comment, highlighted something that I try to stress all the time, and that is that other animals try to avoid big crowds of people. They try to avoid human contact, especially when it's a lot of people. Dogs run straight towards them. And that's the difference between dogs and natural animals of the earth. Dogs see a playground full of kids, and it's like Christmas at Goofy Mutt's head.
Webster Highway. Several people, including employees, went to the hospital with serious injuries like bites to the upper body. None are life-threatening. We're told the dog had to be euthanized. Nashua police are investigating what exactly led up to that attack.
Man, listen. All of these dogs need to be euthanized. Man, what are you talking about? These stories support that belief. They all need to be euthanized. Every last one of them. Let me finish this. This started to upset me so much I had to stop it.
99.999% of people never get infections.
The people typically affected are over 40, have weakened immune systems, their spleen removed, or compromised liver function. When it comes to dogs and cats, they can test positive for the...
Well, wait a minute. Don't talk as if something's wrong with you if your immune system is compromised. Over 40? Come on, man. You just need to stay away from these things.
Or compromised liver function. When it comes to dogs and cats, they can test positive for the bacteria one day, but not the next. It's not practical for vets to prescribe...
See, there you go. They can test positive one day, but not the next. So they're telling you they don't fully understand this thing. And this is just one bacteria. You understand, these things are so disgusting. And it's believable that they're just carcass scavengers. You would expect carcass scavengers to be riddled with crazy bacteria, virus, germs, and parasites. And even in the United States, where these things are drugged up to the hilt, given all types of vaccinations, they still have these crazy outbreaks. Again, imagine how bad it would be if there were no vets, no vaccines, no shots, no nothing. They'd be wiping us out. And actually, they are right now. Man, oh man. Okay, let's finish this.
Medicine because the bacteria is a normal part of an animal's system. As Dan and his family cling to the photos and memories of Sharon, they hope something more...
A normal part of the animals... They talking about dogs. Excuse me. They're talking about dogs, people. You've never heard anyone infected by a cat, ever. You've never heard it. It is so malicious. The tactics they use. The way they try to divert attention away from dogs at all costs, around every corner. They're always trying to deflect things onto other animals. Oh, it's that animal. It's the cats too, and it's over there. Oh, it's their fault. It's not the dog. They treat these the same way they do attacks. Oh, it wasn't the dog's fault. It would never attack unprovoked. You had to have been pestering it. People, this is a very sick, dangerous cult. Stay away from them. Join us, right? Be one of the cool people of the earth. I'm telling you now, this dog lover culture is taking a bad blow right now, and they won't recover from it. They will never recover from it. It's only going to get worse going forward. Y'all better be on the right side of facts and information, logic, and common sense. Be on the right side of it. Right? Shout out to everybody who's able to join me for this live stream. Having a lot of fun this week. I hope you all are doing well. And I hope to see you all back here on the next live stream as we continue with this crusade.